Press secretary as well. You were press secretary during the Cory administration, the administration that came into power after the ousting of the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. We're just counting days before his son and namesake takes his oath as the 17th president of the Republic. What are your thoughts? What are your hopes and your expectations, Secretary?
Well, my thoughts are this. If I can be completely honest with you, I hope to convey to Mrs. Imelda Marcos, she took vilification for what, 36 years or 40 years? I don't know who can take that. I couldn't take that. Remember, my father was just arrested, and that's it, and then he was released. And of course, we lost the best newspaper, actually, according to Harvard, the best newspaper in Asia. But can you imagine that? That was painful, but this pain continued for 36 years. So all I can say is, ma'am, I hope you're happy because your son did it. And then I also observed on Twitter that there's something peculiar about the Marcoses. They always win by massive landslides. They won in 1965. My father was for Macapagal because Macapagal was a Agrarian Reform president. And Marcos won by a landslide. In 1969, Marcos won again by a landslide. Okay, and at that time, the issue was because the opposition decided to field, a Japanese collaborator. And Marcos was a war hero, and my father has a medal for fighting in the anti-Japanese resistance. So he threw his lot with Marcos. And then after that, Marcos was so great. And then also, we did other things for which Marcos once said, hey, Dad, I really want you to be defense secretary. And my dad said, hey, look, I can't march because I have gout. And also, it's not like what I do best. What I do best is what I'm doing now. And then the other one who also helped him was Pepe Jokno, who respected his intelligence. And in fact said, really good things about Marcos, even at the time when they were enemies. And I said, can I also thank Pepe Jokno, Marcos told my father. And he said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That guy has a bad temper and an excessive self-esteem. He did, and he got it from Jokno. So that's fine. The second is, in 2022, another massive landslide victory in the cleanest election ever held, on top of which automated and then validated by a manual count. What is it with them? They win all the time, but always by a landslide. And that's what democracy is all about. Okay? I don't mean you should submit to them because the vast majority has voted for them, but you do have to accept that this is the president the people want. He is not, what I think of him? Well, I sincerely hope that he has studied his father's the period between 1965 when we had 1969 was the first time the Philippines entered the modern age. I remember the old friend Rakisa, who built the first massive highways all across the country and finally united it. Hadn't been done before. And then, of course, I remember the leftists who were determined to destroy our democracy. They went out there, they rioted, they gave the military every excuse to feel a sense of emergency. So that's who I blame. But other than that, well, you won, what a landslide. And I think this is what he thinks. He is there because the palace soon, because they were there out in the countryside voting for him in numbers that have never been achieved in the history of Philippine democracy. So I think, as his father's son, and himself, more than that, he doesn't like to be called his father's son, although he really deeply admires his father. I think he will try to return to the best of his ability, the trust, confidence, the outright affection the Filipino people, the vast majority of the Philippine electorate, showed him. I think we should put our trust in that.